Now, the next account, the third one, is the most detailed. And this is delivered by Dr. John Howell. He is addressing the London College of Physicians. And this account tells us that the Vrindavan or Banaras Brahmins, they traveled to distinct provinces and they arrived at their destination before the return of the disease each year. And although they arrived in February, they did not begin inoculating until they had assessed the state of the distemper. So, what this means is now we're looking at a specialist branch who had extremely well developed understanding of the seasonal patterns of when the disease occurred. Not only that, they had even a well developed or a nuanced understanding of assessing the right time to start administering the treatment. Dr. Howell then goes on to tell us the process and the instrument. So the account tells us that the preferred spot is outside the arm, which is rubbed vigorously with a dry cloth for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then 15 to 16 minute incisions were made with a small circle using a tool that was about 4.5 inches long. The instrument is precisely the same as barbers use to cut the nails and depurate the ears of the customers. Now, we don't know whether this instrument went on to become the rotary lancet later on. He also tells us the process that a small wad of cotton charged with the variolous material was moistened with 2 to 3 drops of water from the Ganga and placed on top of the wound and allowed to remain in contact with it for several hours. The cotton which the Brahmins preserved in a double calico rag was saturated with matter from the inoculated pustules of the previous years. Now, this is the important bit. He says they never inoculate with fresh matter, nor with matter from the disease caught in the natural way. So, what this tells us is that they've had a sufficiently advanced understanding of immunology to know that less virulent strains of the contagion need to be used in the process of variolation. And in the last part of this particular account, we have a striking admission that only 1 in a million failed of receiving the infection. Dr. Howell tells us that this practice of the East had been followed without variation and with uniform success, and it must have been originally founded on rational principles and experiment. This is also where we find the first mention of Shitala or Guttiki Thakurain.